So 1 year ago, it's pretty much to the day, I'd say.
And pretty much the same place because I started in Farin.
Yeah.
About 1 year ago with the
Scene of the crime.
AVK, yes, exactly, and meeting you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a impressive experience. Rebranding a company in 3/4 months. That wasn't easy at all.
Yeah, it was a mountain to climb. And obviously for you, a new team and a new culture and new agency partners. And,
Right.
you know, we just had to get on and do it, didn't
I'm
we?
interested in learning from you. How did you start with AVK and the team? What kind of brief did you receive in terms of the branding?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because the rebranding brief wasn't a rebranding brief.
Right,
It was
that's
actually,
true.
how do we have the right brand foundations to reflect this change in business strategy? And if you think about AVK was more traditional energy sort of supplier,
Yes.
and there was a real shift and a real focus to move into the data center space, but also into that sort of critical innovative power solutions.
So the reality is the rebranding was a consequence in a way.
Absolutely.
Of the job you
Yeah.
started with.
Yeah.
With Ben, our CEO in the executive team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
Which makes sense. I mean, it was not just, changing visual just for the sake of
exactly
changing visual.
a new
It was
lick of paint or
much
Yeah.
deep kind of reason, behind.
yeah, yeah. And I think, really it happened in the right way, because it's what's the story do we need to tell?
Yes.
How do we tell that?
Yeah.
And then does our brand enable us to do so? And when we did those foundation pieces, we then
Starting
realized
from the value, building the narrative, and at that point, the
exactly.
realization was, okay,
We
the
don't.
actual identity is not really representing us
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So we need to go with the further step, which is refreshing the brand, maybe still keeping some of the old codes to have
Absolutely.
some
The
kind of
equity in the
name.
name and the logo. And,
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is where I came on board, and I remember the first meetings we had. And I think there was immediately alignment between
Yes.
your team and our team.
Yeah.
And I have to say, what I really enjoyed about the thing that you basically brought to AVK is, well, of course, your competencies, but the creativity, but also the fact that you are not coming from the same industry.
Yes.
That was a critical point, in my opinion. And that really helped a lot, because it gave us some kind of external factor, external view, which wasn't typical,
of the industry or of the sector.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we always say about our agency that we're Switzerland, we're neutral. We come in and we have a point of view, but also I think the strength of working in multi-sectors, and how do you take the best of what's happening in a B2C brand?
Yes.
Or, what are the trends in what makes a really modern brand or more
even
digital?
the brand launch, now that I think about that, really reflected this kind of hybrid approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was not just digital. It was digital and offline, physical, right? And we went basically with renting roadside signs all around the venue.
Yeah. And doing outdoor advertising, it's quite unusual, isn't it, in this sector and in a B2B space.
Yeah, it was a proper integrated kind of campaign that we launched.
Yeah. And I think that was really, when you came on board, that was one of your big drivers, which was how to be a distinctive B2B brand, and how do we look at what's happening in a B2C space, and here are the great foundations that we've helped you build, and then how do we elevate it into a more distinctive space, which hopefully we've done, right?
Yeah.
Over that time.
Yes.
And continues today.
I think, James, it wasn't easy. I mean, now we think about that, like 1 year later.
There were challenges for sure. I mean, timings and, the short
Timing
deadline was, a big
Never
thing.
done a rebrand in 3 months, by the way, but timing was
Kudos to us all for getting there.
challenge. And the challenge for me was gaining alignment, internal alignment.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I must admit, it's a medium, small company. I've been in larger companies, but the reality is we are all spread out. I mean, only a small part of us work in the offices. All the others are on site. They are engineers, working on site. So it wasn't easy to reach all of them. And once you reach them, you need to clarify all the reason behind the change.
And I think there was a fear, wasn't there, because it was such a family business.
Yeah.
And there was a worry that the culture was going to change, the DNA or the values of the business would change, and that was definitely
especially
a fear.
With the people, working for AVK long term.
Yeah, of course.
So we had to prepare a proper
take them on the journey as well.
Plan. Yeah, I remember we teased the launch a few months before. So it wasn't just launching the brand, and it was preparing them in a way. Finding brand ambassadors, people who understand the reason why we are doing this, and eventually can help us communicating and cascading all the information to the other people. That wasn't easy, and that was probably the most challenging part.
And it was also why, if you think about it, we did all those career video stories because it enabled us to create brand ambassadors and champions, but it also enabled us to sort of lift the lid on what happens in the industry, what happens behind the doors.
The human side of it.
The human side. And that's really key. That's one of the key things of the whole brand, right? Being much more human.
Which is the reason why I was so pleased when we were recognized and we won the award.
Yes, I mean, that's a great, great for us, the Transform Award for Best Brand Implementation.
That was exactly, the point. We were basically awarded for the way we not just launched the brand, but the way we created processes to sustain basically the brand transformation internally and externally.
I think so, and then all the different touch points and all the different ways we were telling the stories and all of the different ways in which we were bringing, the brand to life. And I think, it's a great brand recognition.
It was a very proud moment, being in front of many big brands, consumer brands, which are probably used, to get this kind of awards. We were not, but we were among the winners. So that was really one of the big recognition we had.
And then I guess, obviously you've got other ways you can measure the impact of the brand in terms of, the client recognition, the sort of traction you're getting on social media and so on. But, you've obviously had a shift in culture, haven't you? And a shift in...
Oh, totally. So visible. And it's not just internally. I mean, just talking with customer and prospects, they immediately recognize us. But I think it's much wider than this. It's about talents. It's about the facility, the possibility of recruiting talents today, which is probably a bit easier compared to 1 year ago. I mean, having a strong brand has so many direct and indirect effects. In terms of, again, talent recognition and why not investors eventually, pricing effect and so on and so forth. So while it is recognized among the marketing community that measuring brand effects, it's not easy. And we all know that. But the reality is it's visible.
And you can see it, but you can also feel it, right? And there's a momentum to the brand, which I think is exciting for the next campaign that's coming out, and exciting for all the things we want to do in the next 12, 24 months, etc. And you can feel that energy, I think, which is great.
That's true, and I really hope that the journey that we took 1 year ago and now we keep going with it is something that can be eventually replicated by others.
Yes,
because in the end, I mean, we are in a way paving the way, and we're probably one of the first who are experimenting and playing with the brand in the way we do.
Pushing and pulling things.
But the reality is, I really hope that the industry will adopt the same approach in terms of branding, in terms of narrative. I mean, the reality is we will be being united. It's much easier, if you really want to change the narrative and the story of your industry. It's not just up to us. It's not just AVK. So
no, exactly. And what someone who's not purely working in the data center space, but we've now got a few clients off the back of work we've done with you, which is great. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. But what really strikes me about the data center industry and the data center marketing community in particular is how collaborative it is. It's got this sort of
which is why
spirit.
we created this club.
Yes, exactly.
Not necessarily connected to AVK, but in a way it is connected because AVK is sponsoring.
Yeah.
But also I'm one of the co-founders, so I'm like the intersection between the company and the club.
Yes.
And just last few days, I spent them at a conference in France. I've met so many marketers who are very pleased with what we are doing, which is super small, by the way. It's a small community, but in the end, we are finally finding the way to get together.
Yes.
Consider also that in average, a marketing team in the center industry is no more than 2 to 5 people.
Yeah,
so we are talking about very small teams. I mean, we are not talking about a massive marketing population. And that's the reason why, for the first time, we feel we are not isolated.
Yeah, no, and you really see that and you feel that, and I think it's you know, a great thing to be part of, frankly. Yeah.
Thank you very much, James, for being part of the Making Conversation, our new podcast. Well, I really hope that there will be many things coming in the next future, and the collaboration will keep going.
Yeah, well, so do we. And it's been, you know, we've obviously had a great journey so far. We're just at the beginning, as we said, and, you know, it's been great to be here. And thank you for having me on the podcast in such esteemed company. And, you know, looking forward to the next, basically.
Good. Thank you again.